The ones. They're very, very small producers, and they're doing they're called pet nats in the shops, and they got all their fancy, the fancy bottles, and they're capping them and giving it sort of the craft aspect to wine, and that's happening a lot here. I see now.
I call those artisan wineries because they're basically celebrating the fact that they're teeny and not the big behemoths that ship a couple 100,000 cases to America or whatever. And I mean they have the same thing here. There's the wineries with a capital W, and then there's the little guys who are like a little family-owned operation that maybe do 75 to 100,000 gallons a year.
But they're also naturals, so that's the word they're using, which typically means they don't sulfite. Typically means they use a wild yeast.
Oh, okay. Wild yeast.
Well, they use the yeast on the skins, and they're even talking about how Brett can add some flavour to, like Brettanomyces adds flavour to some of the wines.
It does. I mean, there's a lot of mead. There's a lot of mead making that's involving Brett these days. It's really popular in the cider. I had Dogfish Head Brewery in Delaware. I stopped by there while I was up in the area for the East Coast meetup this weekend, and just happened that it was real close to Dogfish Head, so I could not go. I mean, cool.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and so we went, and John Talkington, which you've seen online. John Talkington, his place is just up the road. He works at Dogfish Head now, and he's starting his own meadery, which should be opening in a month. Shout out to you, John. It was good seeing you this weekend. But anyway, he took me over there, and I got a little private tour. But before we started the tour, I picked up a glass of, they've got this cider. It's called Sick Cider, because, Brett traditionally denotes something wrong with your brew. So they call it Sick Cider, and it was a dry cider with Brett. And it was really interesting. I liked it, But I'm kind of a fan of sour meads and sour beers too. So, it's an acquired taste, or it's kind of a love-hate thing in a lot of cases.
I definitely love my sour beers and my funky beers.
I've
actually made. I've had some experiments here with funky meads and sour meads. Using Yate honey and Mallee honey in each one. I used Brett Bruxellensis in my funky mead, and it turned out the aroma was like a Chenin Blanc, but the taste was almost just, there was nothing there. It was just very light, very dry, and the aroma was amazing. But the flavour was not there. So more testing with that one.
I hate when that happens, when it smells amazing and then it doesn't follow through on the taste, and you're like, "Aw," because you had all this expectation,
I'm pretty sure I could have fed it a little bit more, like with a little bit more honey, and I probably would have got something out of it. But other than that, the sour one, that was fantastic. 3.5. It was down to 3.5 pH, and there was one of the local brewers here who was the national homebrewer of the year from a couple of years ago. I had one of his fantastic creeks, and I used the dregs from those bottles to add to my the sour funky mead, and that was a very tasty mead.
You had a sour creek mead? That's so cool.
So I used the dregs from a creek that one of the local homebrewers had done, and because he will take bottles from like sour bottles and then get them all together, put them all in one big batch, make multiple batches, and then blend them all together. This is 3-4 years work, and then I put it into my mead to just to build up a sour mead.
Cool. David Webb is asking, do y'all have ghost style beer down there?
Gozes, yeah, everywhere. It's a big thing here.
Okay.
Salty sour beer, everyone loves it.
I can see sour beer. I haven't had a salty beer yet. I'm not sure what I think about that.
We live in the hot weather. A salty beer is amazing.
I guess it would be. Yeah. I'm just having trouble wrapping my head around a salty beer.
One of my favorite ones.
Salty chocolate, salty caramel, salty beer.
I like salty caramel. So.
One of our favorite ones that we do get here in cans, funnily enough, is Anderson Valley Goza from the US.
Okay, I don't think I know.
Do you get any, while we're talking about beer, do you find that you get resistance from I guess we have a pretty strong beer culture, so you were talking about guys who weren't too sure about mead being in their competition. Do you find people just won't try it because all they like is beer and they won't go outside their beer box?
I think that's what braggots are for. That helps push them over the edge, and the fact that I don't give them a choice.
You're abusing braggots? How dare you?
No. They love them, but I just don't give them a choice. They have to like mead, or I won't talk to them. So no, there's definitely been much discussion. We were luckily we had a master BJCP judge over here for a few years.
Oh, nice.
He worked for Chevron, so he was a part of our club in WA because that's where all the mines are. And he helped push our club into the higher quality of beers and that. I pushed him into meads. He loves his meads. He's from Texas, so he's quite close to a few of the meaderies there. He still hasn't told me if he's gone to them or not, but yeah, he helped push a lot of things nationally in regards to competitions and that sort of stuff, and mead was one of them. So, and it was good that we had someone who had direct access to Gordon Strong and all those sort of BJCP
that is not
type
a bad
of people.
thing, yeah.
So definitely very handy. So yeah, and the argument is that the mead homebrewers don't make enough to enter into competitions. So I guess the biggest question that I have for the Australian mead makers and homebrewers is to and APRIS is to make meads, enter them into competitions. One of the biggest arguments is we don't have meads we don't know what meads are, we don't know how to judge them. And my argument is, well, if you don't judge, if you don't actually try, how can you know? You
won't know, yeah.
So
I didn't know. I mean, I was making mead, but when I first started judging, I didn't know how to judge, whether a mead was good or not. I just knew what I liked and what I made, which was what I liked. And, so my experience was limited to that and what I read, but you could read all day long and not really know, what it's going to taste like. You really got to taste it. So that was a real eye-opener for me. Didn't hurt that I was judging with Ken Schramm, so I had some very good input,
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to get paired with him, when I first started learning to judge. So that was a real eye-opener,
That's something that we do here in Australia, is that if we do have new judges, we do pair them with more experienced judges.
That's why the Major Cup trains up there is.
We have to. We're actually holding the national homebrew competitions for beer for homebrew is in WA this year. So I'm actually running that through the homebrew side of things.
Nice.
I put my hand up.
Yeah, you just weren't in the room when they called for volunteers, so you got picked, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I know that our club can help. So the West Coast Brewers can do that. Where we've run the national comp, state comp a few times, no problems. We've got good judges. We're going to get. There's a few judges coming over from other states to judge the nationals. So we'll organise like bus trips and that stuff for them to go to craft breweries and other things. But having those judges there, and the fact that we're making sure the mead's in the competition, the ciders in there as well, and sours, they will get assigned, obviously, the tables for mead. And if they don't know it, then they'll be assigned with a judge who does know something about mead. And we'll work with them as it is anyway. So we want to make it one of the biggest mead comps in Australia.
Nice. So you're really dragging Australia kicking and screaming into the 21st craft beverage century.
Yeah, pretty much.
Somebody's got to do it.
Well, I mean,
I have dreams, whether they happen or not, it's a different story. I'll do what I can.
How many entries in the mead categories are you expecting?
It depends on the state. I know WA is one of the higher ones, just because I've been constantly at it here. Queensland's one of the small ones. Melbourne is also a larger one. Canberra definitely is a big one as well.
Really?
So Canberra has one of the largest homebrew clubs in Australia.
I guess there's nothing else to do.
I was just going to say, there's nothing else to do in Canberra, is there?
Hamish.
I read an article about Canberra. It sounds like a
ACT
terribly
listeners.
boring place.
They're one of the most
Again,
largest,
apologies to our ACT listeners.
so they're one of the most largest and most organised clubs in WA.
Well, so
The
people
Canberra
need to
Brewers.
drink more in Canberra? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, lots of government stuff over there.
Yeah, I know. there was a whole chapter on Canberra in oh shoot, I can never remember the author's name, and he wrote a book about Australia. He's a travelogue writer. He's funnier than crap. But anyway, the article he wrote about Canberra, I almost fell asleep reading the chapter because it was like all the buildings are gray and ugly, and there's nothing happening, and there's anybody in the streets except like when they're coming to work and when they're leaving from work. It isn't beyond that. It's like deserted. There's nobody there.
I can agree to that, yeah. I've been there once for the homebrew conference, and it was a very weird-shaped city.
Yeah.
So lots of ring roads, and just trying to find my way around was very confusing for a bit there. So, but like one of the other things is that with the home brewers doing the meads, they also need someone in, I guess, each state to help push mead itself. I know that's helped me doing that in WA, and I know there's people, Steve, Kirby, and Joel. There's a couple others I can't think off the top of my head that are helping push mead through the homebrew groups. Because homebrewers, they're happy to do anything as long as it's got alcohol generally. But if we help push that, then we can help push the whole category in Australia. So
that'll be cool, and to get things really moving there, because you guys are picking up speed. There was, for a while, there was quite a lot going in Australia with commercial meads, and then it all kind of died back, and now it's like the next generation is stepping up or something.
Yeah. It's definitely. I know that's happening over in WA, because we've only got I think there's 3 of us, and then there's all the contract winemakers as well. So, and obviously across the country, there's small ones popping up every now and then, but it will get big. It will get bigger with things like happening, like Steve from Stone Dog, going to Gabs in Sydney, which and Melbourne. I don't know if he's going to Melbourne. No, he's going to Sydney, which is the Great Australian Beer Spectacular, and taking his meads there. It's going to help push the whole category higher and have it more visible across everyone. So that which helps.
Sounds like you've really been a real advocate. You're like the mead whisperer there, just getting it to everybody.
Yes, I get told to shut up occasionally.
No, that's cool though, because I mean it's gaining speed in so many different places. I mean I think the U.S. is right now probably the busiest place for mead, but right on our heels is Australia and Great Britain, and Poland never really stopped. They just were quiet about it until we started doing it, and they were like, oh hey, yeah, we've been here for 1,000 years doing this, but yeah, y'all go ahead.
Yes, I've had some of the Polish meads. There's a couple of bars here in Perth that do pick up some meads when they see them. I know that Dutch Trading Co. in what's it called? Victoria Park. They have meads. That's also part of the homebrew. That's where the homebrew club is. So, of course, they're going to have meads. I don't shut up about it. So,
so did you get a sense of how many entries you can expect?
So I'm not too sure this year. I'd like to see it be a far higher number.
Okay.
So I'll be wherever I can in the forums and that sort of stuff across the homebrew groups. I'll be definitely pushing mead. We've had easily 20 entries in state competition just in WA, and that's continually growing. I know Queensland can be anywhere from 8 to 10, But that's how